Dean Consiglio, welcome to the Sporting Feast.
Hello, Scobes. Hello, Richie. It's lovely to be on here. It's about time you guys had me on to talk all things Jordan Spieth and golf. So,
so you're the anti-Spieth, are you?
Not at all, mate. Not at all. I finally revealed myself, have I?
Are you anti-golf or are you just anti-Jordan Spieth?
Oh, look, I've got nothing against golf in general, but I don't like to spend my days listening to people talk about it.
You're on here because you're an Italian stallion, someone's told me. But more to the point, you're an avid Italian soccer fan, and Italy are taking on England in the Euro soccer final come Sunday morning Australia. Is it Monday morning Australian time?
Yes, yeah, Monday morning. It's 5 a.m.
It's going to be you versus Richard here. You're the Italian, Richard's the Englishman, and I am the unbiased Australian. Why don't you tell us why you think Italy are going to win the Euros and put forward a case for Italy and Italian fans?
Sure, mate. Well, look, it's been an interesting run for the Italian team. We, if anyone knows much about them, we failed miserably to qualify for the World Cup back in 2018. We had an atrocious coach and some atrocious team choices. So we go down in infamy back then, and the FA decided to appoint Roberto Mancini of Man City glory into glory to basically rebuild the whole team from scratch. He tosses out all the dead wood and brings through a whole new generation of talent. A lot of the young guys getting a run from early on. And in fact, this 1 year delay with the Euros has probably helped Italy a lot because it allowed the young guys to get a lot more time and experience under their belt. They go on a 33-match unbeaten run, cruise through qualifying, cruise through the group stage, and basically they arrive at the final with a squad full of young talent, with a couple of old heads thrown in for experience and a world-class coach. So you put all that together, and it's a pretty convincing argument for a piece of silverware at the end of it.
I was having a look, Dino. There's 14 of the Italian squad who are 27 years or older. So they've got, you mentioned the old heads, but they've got a lot of experience there to help out.
Mate, the experience is there. A lot of them are probably on the bench or sort of more squad players. A lot of the starting lineup is pretty young. The defense, you've got the old heads in there of Bonucci and Chiellini, who are super old, like they're legitimately 36 and 34 respectively. They've pretty much got no interest in performing at this level at that age, but they've sort of wound the clock back to produce some really, really good performances at this level. But there's the young guys with Barella, Locatelli, Di Lorenzo, Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, who's 22, and he's already got something like 200 caps at first grade level. So there's a lot of youth in there that are looking really good and sort of driving the team forward.
I was going to say this in my part, but I might as well get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Counter-attacking football from Italy, I haven't seen this done with speed and accuracy and precision, that kind of speed and accuracy in a very long period of time. There was a moment in the Spain game in the extra time period where I think I counted maybe 2.5 seconds from a defender in the corner to attacking opportunity, and just lucky for Spain that a defender cut it out. But is that the way that hurts us? But is that the way in which they play?
Well, mate, it's really interesting you brought that up. Against all the sort of tradition of Italian football, Mancini's built this team based on possession, right? So I know the old adage is defend, counter-attack Italian football, but Mancini's gone with a more possession-based game. And in fact, in every game so far in the tournament, they've had over 50% possession. And against Wales and stuff, they were clocking like 70% of the possession. So they're comfortable with the ball at their feet. Now, that took a massive turn against Spain because the Spanish are the dominant team on the ball. There's no one in world football that holds the ball like they do. And they relegated us to like 20 or 30% possession. And Mancini was able to switch it up and play with the counter-attack, with the low defensive line, and basically went back to roots with that style. So it was really good to see the tactical flexibility to be able to do that. So I'll be very curious to see who gets the better of the midfield against England on Monday. And I'm quite confident, even if England managed to do that, we've still got a whole array of weapons sort of up our arsenal with that counter-attack and that that defensive line to sort of keep the chances to a minimum. Because against Spain, they had all the ball, but they only created 1 or 2 chances the whole game.
Yeah, with that Spain game, it was like death by 1,000 cuts for them. They had to really break through, string together 25 passes, which was a bit unrealistic. Yep. Who hurts us, mate?
2 guys, mate. I reckon key players. 1, I'll go with Barella, midfield maestro. He's a little box-to-box midfielder, real modern player, can do everything. He runs, tackles, is comfortable with the ball when he's dribbling. He can really play a beautiful pass. And against Belgium, we saw he's got goals in the arsenal as well. He looked a little dusty against Spain towards the end. He's had a massive year under Conte at Inter, run ragged playing for that bloke. If you know his style, he squeezes every drop out of his team. But hopefully with the 4 days to recharge, he'll be back to his best. The other guy you guys have got to watch out for is Chiesa, Federico Chiesa. He is the son of Enrico Chiesa, who had 22 caps for Italy himself. So he's in Italy, they're known as the figlio d'arte, which is translates directly to son of artists. So he's basically any child who follows in their parents' footsteps. He's a bit of blue blood Italian royalty when it comes to football. He was actually on the bench at the start of the tournament, not really favoured by Mancini, but he's played his way into the team with some crucial goals against Austria, and then he scored that blinder against Spain yesterday. So he's forced his name into the team sheet, and he will be starting. He's absolutely clutch at the moment. Give him half a sniff, and I'd back him to score.
It's an interesting one. We'll just turn our attention to the England side, Dean. And I still remember, and I was saying this to you off air as well, we were sitting around our table playing cards. Well, I think we both had stogies, and we were talking about who the new England manager was going to be in 2016. And you said, get on Mancini. He was about $30. And I think we saw him in the grandstand of a game. He then, if you remember, there was that mad rush. He came into about $5, and we were thinking this is the greatest steal of all time. And then they appoint Gareth Southgate. Couldn't believe it.
I remember that night vividly. And like the mail from Italy was that Mancini was committed. He had a few chats, and I believe he'd done the interviews with the English FA, and he told them he was on board. By all accounts, in the end, I think the English looked back on their time with Capello and probably thought, these foreign managers, it's not always a guarantee. And I think the English made the call in the end to go with Southgate, which, look, is what it is. I think it wasn't a bad decision. I think Southgate's proven himself to be, more than up to the job. And I think he's done a very good job with this team. So it's funny. It was a bit of a sliding doors moment there that Mancini then obviously gets the Italian job because we were in desperate need of a quality manager. And here they find themselves facing each other in a final.
Just having a look through our lineup. So with the exception of the Germany game, we've gone with a 4-2-3-1. The 2 pivotal players for us. So obviously our 2 holding midfielders, our box-to-box guys, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, have been really good for you. You'd probably agree that your man Jorginho from Chelsea has been outstanding.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the deep-lying midfielder role. I fell in love with it watching Piddler play as I grew up, especially for the national team. It's an underappreciated role in the game, especially these days, but it's so influential on getting the team ticking and letting the other guys in the team hit their straps. Without that deep-lying midfielder, game plans and structure can really fall apart, I find.
Yeah, and we obviously use 2. Obviously, Claude Makelele and Kante are probably the 2 examples in the current era. Yeah. I got big concerns. So we only attack down one side. I'm sure you've worked that out already. So Luke Shaw and Raheem Sterling been playing on the left. That it looks like Gareth Southgate's gone with a system where it's either Saka will play 60 and then Grealish comes on and they switch Sterling to the right. My concern is Kyle Walker has to play in this game because he's fast, but that's all he can do. So that's probably going to – I'm hoping that will negate your counter-attacking skills and quick transition. But for me, I'm going to ask you point blank, mate. I think this guy's going to have a field day, but who stops Harry Maguire in the box in set piece?
Oh, mate, look, if you've followed Giorgio Chiellini's career, which I have, he's a Juventus player, obviously, so generally I'm on the opposite end of his talents, but I do rate him on the set pieces. He's an absolute pest. He finds a way to get away with all the shirt tugging, pulling, pushing, and hitting. He gets away with more than any other player that I've seen. He does it in a way that It keeps it away from the eyes of the ref and the eyes of the cameras at times. So he will be the one tasked with keeping Maguire under control. I back him to get the job done.
Well, Harry Maguire's had a chance, a clear scoring opportunity in his last 3 fixtures. And for me, he could have scored on Thursday morning, with the exception of Kasper Schmeichel making a very good save. The out-and-out star for England and in this tournament has been your friend, Raheem Sterling. Why do you hate him so much, Dean?
Oh, look, a bit of background for anyone that don't know. I've never shied away from making my thoughts known about Raheem Sterling. There's no denying he's had a good tournament so far, even if it's been against pretty average opposition, I will say. I think Raheem's a one-dimensional player. I reckon that if you stop his pace and limit the space that he can run into, you render him ineffectual. I find he's a one-trick pony, and if you cut that off, he doesn't offer much else. Big games, we see this a lot. Any fan of City would be able to tell you that when it comes to crunch time, he can often fail to turn up. With a competent opposition and someone who knows how to play him, I think we can negate him in this game. I'd be more worried about Harry Kane. I think he's just hit his straps. He was looking pretty rusty as the tournament started, but he's played his way into form, and he would be the one I'd be a little bit worried about at this stage.
Well, let's be honest. We both were hoping City lost that Champions League final to say that.
I'm a neutral, mate. I don't.
Get off the fence. That's clearly not the case.
Do we think Raheem is fully focused? I believe after this Euros, he's qualified for the England diving team for the Olympics.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Scobes. For anyone who hasn't seen the game this morning, it was an atrocious dive that won England a penalty that got them through. It was nothing short of despicable. But look, it is what it is. I mean, I don't blame Sterling. He does what he's got to do to get his team through. And look, coming from an Italian, we are the master of the dark arts. I wouldn't for a second try to take a holier than thou attitude on this point. But Sterling, look, he turned up the goods this morning with his dive. I think he'll be focused. It's in his game plan. It's what he does. We just got to deal with it.
The irony of Harry Kane is, though, Dino, we had a conversation via text where prior to the Germany fixture, you had concerns that he would be dropped for Rashford because he wasn't giving anything.
Mate, I thought he started off the tournament really dusty. I thought at least one of those other nines had earned a start in the group stage. I would have thought there would have been a time maybe in the third game to see if one of the other guys sort of deserved to go. Look, that's why Southgate's paid the big bucks and I'm not. Kane's played himself into form, so there's no denying that.
Do you think he's the best striker in the world?
Ooh, tough call. Probably not. I'm a massive, massive Benzema fan. I really, really rate him. Look, Kane's good. I mean, it's hard to compare these strikers, especially when they play in one league and they haven't taken their talents elsewhere. In England, he's obviously the big dog. We'll see how he goes on Monday morning.
Yeah, look, I'll give my prediction in a minute. But one thing I noticed with Harry Kane, and you would have seen this, Dean, over the last 2 games, he's dropping in a lot more and they're getting runs through. So when they play this 4-2-3-1, Mason Mount is essentially those two are rotating spots. So when Kane drops in, and it happened today, it wasn't Mason Mount, but it was Saka made that run. Kane hit him, he squared it across, and it was an Oggy where Raheem was there anyway. But I guess for me, mate, the question we have for you is who wins Monday morning?
Before you go on, Dino, let's get a winner, a score, and some sort of wager, an anytime goal scorer, first goal scorer, man of the match, whatever you got for us.
Sure. Mate, look, obviously come this far, being in the camp that I'm in, I can't see anything other than a Italian win. There's we went through a lot of pain in 2018. I think it was the first time in our history we'd failed to qualify for the World Cup, like even make the final. So it was a really tough time to be an Italian fan back then, and we've done the hard yards to rebuild this from scratch. So we've got a feeling that we've earned this spot, we've deserved this spot. So I can't see much else than an Italian win come from my side. It'll be a very interesting game. I think it's going to extra time. I think it'll be 1-1 at the end of normal time. I think each side has at least a goal in them. I don't think it'll be much more than that. I think Italy will clinch it in extra time. we love a good extra time winner. In our history, we sort of seem to gravitate to them. So I'm going to say Italy 2-1. Goal scorers, I'm going to say Chiesa gets 1 for Italy. And I think I would suggest probably Immobile will get the other one. He's had a rough few games on that front, so he's due something decent. And from England's perspective, I'll give a goal to Kane. As far as picking a sort of a betting option or a wager there, I can't go past Federico Chiesa, anytime goal scorer. I think he's paying about 4.33 at the moment. He's just clutch at the moment. He's in really good form. If he gets half a sniff, he'll put the ball in the back of the net, and he's our most threatening attacking talent at the moment.
Well, that's, quite comprehensive. You mentioned history, and you know full well you like to make it very clear and known to me, Dean, that after 90 minutes, England don't exactly go well and have a history of penalty shootout heartbreak.
Yeah, it's true. I would definitely be back in Italy if it doesn't end. If the game doesn't end in normal time,
mate. I think it will end in normal time, and this is the first time after watching this morning and the diabolical 60 minutes that England served up, where I actually believe that England will win. Now, you have had the best team in the comp from day one to now. I firmly believe that. You've had the tougher road. The fact that you got through the teams, the fact that you got through the teams that you did speaks volumes. But England was so bad this morning and still found a way to win. There's something different about this team. 2018, we made the semi-final and we won a penalty shootout against Colombia. That hasn't happened in a very long time. Fast forward to now, we're down 1-0. Worldy free kick that Luke Shaw stupidly gave away in the first place. And England turned it on. So, Dino, let me tell you how it's going to go. Harry Maguire will score the first goal off a corner from the left-hand side.
I'm picking sides as well.
England then will put it away in the second half when Italy is pushing through a Raheem Sterling counter-attacking goal. The game will finish 2-0. In football, I can firmly say and believe, this is the first time I actually believe it after this morning, is coming home.
Oh, mate, look, that's an interesting prediction. My life would be very difficult to live if Raheem scores a winning goal against the Italians on Monday from one person in particular. I won't mention his name. But I'm glad you brought up this coming home thing. It's interesting. The media obviously been running it very heavy. It's a bit nauseating, to be honest. Just question for you, what is it exactly that's coming home? You guys have never won this tournament.
Correct. I know, mate. Nice to know you've listened to Casper Schmeichel. You've just stolen his gig, mate.
Casper shed some light on this theory the other day. I mean, I can understand it in the World Cup, but this idea of something coming home is interesting given it's never been home. There's a saying in Italy that, look, football was invented in England, but it was born in England, but it went to university when it got to Italy. So, I'll be curious to see who gets the goods on Monday. It's a bit. Do you find it a bit nauseating that the media, the English media, in these environments?
I did it at the beginning with Calvin Phillips. I didn't think he was as good as what they G'd up, and then I watched him against Germany, and it was more Declan Rice stood out. But Declan Rice makes him so much better. And he is a quality player. Obviously, he does a good job for Leeds in the EPL as well. Yeah. But, mate, they kind of rely on him a lot more now than I thought they would have. And his distribution's pretty good.
I almost vomited when I heard the English media dub Phillips the Yorkshire Pirlo. The reference there, for those that don't understand it, Pirlo, obviously an Italian legend, World Cup winner, title winner with Milan and Juventus. To dub this fella from Leeds as the Yorkshire Pirlo was sickening to Italian fans. We were most offended by that. I think that was the moment the media really put themselves on the Italian radar as something we couldn't handle because that's sacrilegious in my view.
If it does go to penalties, I think we both agree that you have the upper advantage there, upper hand.
I think so. We've just got the history there. Also, if you saw the penalties against Spain the other day, Jorginho's was just the coolest clutch penalty you'll probably ever see in your life. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. He just strolls up to the ball, waits for the keeper to commit, and literally just rolls it into the bottom corner at a snail's pace. it was something to behold. It was up there, if you will, with one of the great penalties from Euro history when Peter chipped Joe Hart back in 2012, I think it was. You remember that one well, Richie, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I do. That was a heartbreaker for England.
So, no, there's good history there between these two, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
So there you have it, Beasties. We got our special Italian stallion guest giving the Italians a nod 2-1 in extra time. Thank you very much, Dean. And we got Richie with his homer pick 2-0 or 2-0 in normal time to England.
Or as I like to say, 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Sounds like a drink order at the Down Under bar.
Little Spanish
So
cocktail.
Dean, really appreciate you jumping on and giving us your time. I know you're in lockdown and you are probably looking for things to do, but we appreciate you coming on and handing your expertise over, and hope best of luck to the Italian side.
I sure hope so. Thank you guys for having me on. It's been it's a pleasure. May the best team win on Monday, and Kingy, I will be coming for you if your boys start to get the job done. So be ready.
Arrivederci as always, Donato.
Ciao, guys. Great talking.